Okay, let's see. Okay, here we are. Now let's see if we can get this to work. Why is it showing that? I don't want to show that. No, stop. Why is it showing that? No. It should be showing me. Just me, not that. I don't want to show that. Turn it off. Oh my gosh, why is this on? No, escape. Why is that on? Close. Why is that on? I don't want, oh my god, this damn thing. Okay, maybe it won't show it. I don't know. Maybe it won't. Is it even there? Please go away. Please go away. I don't want to see this. I don't know why it's showing. Okay. Here's what we're trying to do. Is right here. So, no, I don't want to end the stream. I don't even know if I'm going. I don't even know if it's on. Really, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this. I don't like it. I just do not like StreamYard. I've got to quit using it. I don't know why it's showing this other thing right here. But look, it's showing me twice. Why? Why is it showing me twice? Just crazy, huh? I don't get it. I see me twice. I don't know if y'all see me twice. I don't know what it's showing. Okay? I have no idea what it's showing. I guess it's showing me live right there. Okay, then we'll just do that. All right, I guess it's working right now. We'll see. Because what I want to do, oops, here we are. Okay. No, we're good. There's that. Okay, so we're good. All right, I'm sorry. I do not like StreamYard. Every time I turn around, something is just not right about it. I've got to get rid of it and do something else. I don't like it. It causes more grief than it's worth. It's just not worth it to me. It's just not worth it to me. So anyway, well, we'll just move on. We'll just move on. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over here and we're going to talk about it for a minute. Now, I want to try sharing my screen again. It's all set up over here. We'll see if we can get this to work. It says present or invite, and it says share screen. Okay, I'm going to share a screen. Okay, share the screen, and it's going to be right here, share. Okay,
so
now
I'm
going to look at this for a little bit. I would like to get all this, I'd like to get all this off of here, but I really don't know how to get it off of there.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised knowing what I know about the judicial
full screen
system and
layout.
how it works.
No. Okay, so it's going to just show some chat and stuff. I don't really like that, but okay.
It still was. Just
and this
you
is
were
from
there,
CBS5.
so
This
from
is
what
her,
happened,
after the interview yesterday.
And we didn't really see any
after
noticeable
she got out of
reaction from you,
live interview.
or really anybody else in the
Just
courtroom when
listen
that
to
verdict
this
was read.
second, and
When
then we
you
have
did
the,
hear it,
it's
what was your
Arizona
first
Family,
thought?
which is CBS Station
it's
5.
not a secret that I had a near-death
And
experience.
I
We
really
talked
like
about it
this
at my
interviewer. She's doing a
sentencing.
really good job.
And
It's
when you
on
have
Arizona,
that
that's what it
experience
is.
and you go to
so
the
I hope
other
you can
side,
hear it. If not, we'll just turn it
you
up.
understand. You have a
Is it
life
all the way
review.
up?
You see your whole life, everything that happened.
Now it's all the way
And you
up.
see what's
Let me turn
important
it up a little bit
and what's
more. I think I can turn it up from right
You
here.
see
Let's see. Oh yeah. It might not
what
be very
matters in
clear,
life.
but yeah.
So what
turn it
matters
up
in
right
life
there. So anyway,
is how
we're
you
gonna talk
react
about
to
this.
things,
Okay, now
how
listen
you treat
carefully.
other people, and the love that you give while you're here on earth. And that's it.
So you felt not
That's it.
reacting was the best call in that moment?
No, I felt like I should have joy in every situation, which is what I was taught to do in heaven.
So you had a list of witnesses you could call, your parents, your sister, even your brother again, but you chose not to. And I think you rest.
Okay, so I stopped it. She is once again, oh, this is what I was taught in heaven. Okay, so let's take you back for a second and talk about the stage. Come on. We'll talk about this for a second. She tried to say that when she had her near-death experience that she never had, that she was shown a bunch of things in heaven. Remember all that? It's kind of interesting, I think. But so she's saying, I mean, here she is saying, this is what I was taught to do in her little baby voice. And I don't understand. Okay, listen, she has the baby voice. Letitia Stouch got that baby voice. A bunch of these people get that little baby voice going. I don't know why they do that. Is their charm? They're trying to charm their way into people thinking they didn't do anything wrong, that they're sweet and innocent. Wow. I don't know why she does that, because we have clearly heard her talking in different voices. We know we have. We've heard her do it. So, okay, well, we'll turn it back on for a minute, but I just wanted to talk about, you have to stop for fair use, and that's fine. I don't mind. I think it's only fair that you give credit where credit is due. So anyway, I'm going to add it back to the stage and we'll watch this for a little bit longer and talk about what she talks about next. Here we go.
So did you read any of the motions that were filed precluding my sister and my mother from speaking about certain subjects?
Some of them, yes.
And then did you read any of the motions that were precluding me from asking certain questions to the law enforcement?
Yes.
So, and did you see all the people that they struck from my witness list?
Yes.
Okay. So
Who did that leave you with?
That's what I'm saying. In the judicial system, the way that it works is they really don't let you put on a defense. They just don't. They don't let you.
Okay, we clearly know that is not exactly true. See, we know that that is not true. I tell you what, I wished I could do a FOIA, but I know we're not going to be able to do that to get all the documents on this case. But until she's tried for the other case, I don't think they're going to let us have any information. But I will get it, and we can look at all of it. I know we won't be able to get phone calls and jail calls and all that, but she probably didn't make any jail calls because she just goes to her portal over there and she talks to Chad Daybell that way. That's the way she explained it to us, right? So, and I've always thought that was so funny. It just is. It just is. Did y'all see my thumbnail I made of her being Annabelle? I could not wipe the smile off of her face because Annabelle was smiling. So when I infused the two faces together, she's smiling. There's no way to change that. So because it comes from the picture, but hope everybody's doing good today. And I hope you're interested in talking about why Lori is saying the things that she's saying, because we clearly know that she's once again lying to the interviewer. The reason why they did not let her call certain witnesses, in my opinion, is because if they would have called these people, it opened the door for these other questions to come out. Because when we hear the jurors talk, the ones that had been interviewed, they wanted to know, why did she not have anybody come to the stand? Why did she have any witnesses? You know, what happened to Tylee? Why isn't Tylee talking about who had the bat, etc.? Now, you did hear that one juror who said he knew that she had unalived her children. Now, remember when they went and they did their jury voir dire? They were not supposed to know anything about this other case. So the question is, did he find out the night before? When did he find this out? And is it going to affect the outcome of that trial? Because the last thing we want is a retrial of her. No, we don't want her to get retried, but it could cause a problem, because when Nate asked him the questions, he clearly said, yeah, that he knew that she had unalived her children, and he just felt sorry for her. I'm like, how do you feel sorry? Well, I guess I get it. I understand why he felt sorry for her, but anyway, yeah, so that's kind of going to be a problem. But no, you don't want to open the door for that kind of thing to come out, because it really would have made her look really bad. I mean, she looked bad anyway, but it would have made it 10 times worse, because then they would have had to explain a lot of things. Now, for her next trial for Brandon Boudreaux, the state has filed a 404B to bring that evidence up. So on the next trial, she will be able to call those witnesses. She has blamed every single thing on somebody else. It's going to be, she didn't get a fair trial. Here's the thing they told her, though, before she even decided to do this pro se: you cannot go back and do an appeal on ineffective counsel. When you go pro se, that wipes that out. So I don't know what she's going to appeal on, but she will get an appeal. I mean, they all get a chance to appeal. You know, so even though Letitia Stouch, everybody thinks she missed the date, but she didn't. She actually does have an appeal pending. Now, we cannot get the documents because it is a sealed appeal, and that is because of the age of the child involved that she unalived. Okay, so we're going to go back up here and we'll let this play some more. I'm so glad. I mean, I hope you come in and speak to me. If you don't, it's okay too. You can always listen later. I'm fine with that. So here we go. Start it right here.
To present it. So you think, and this is what I thought too, because you're naive when you go into it, right? Like, I didn't know, as 46 years old, the first time I was ever arrested, I didn't know how the system worked. I didn't know any of that. So you think they get to tell their side and you get to tell your side. And you think that's the way that it works. And it doesn't. It doesn't work that way at all. And in a high profile case like this, there's money and jobs and things that are going on way behind the scenes that nobody sees. I mean, what you saw, it's even interesting. So think about this. What you saw, how many different things did you see than what the jury saw? Because you see the arguing of motions. You see all the things that the prosecutor's saying behind the scenes, and they don't get to even see any of that. So it's the way that the system works, and it's what it does. And so, yeah, they precluded me basically from having a defense. They precluded you from talking about the things that would be most important to prove your case. So if the judge precludes all those things, what are you supposed to get up and say?
Well, Lori, that's why you should have had an attorney represent you, because a skilled attorney would have known how to handle all this. It's just never a good idea to represent yourself in a trial like that, especially not one for murder or unaliving people. I'm trying to be so cautious. I really don't want YouTube to get on me. But anyway, the defense that she's trying to go with, and she said this, she already said it once in the courtroom: if there was no bat, there would be no gun. Well, that's how she's trying to blame it on Tolly again. Everything that's went wrong over here, she's blamed on Tolly. And when she sat there and lied in court, even to this lady, we'll let it play on, because she asked her this particular question about at what point did she start having an affair with Chad Daybell. Well, we already know that answer, but listen to what she says. It is the amount of lies this lady tells, thinking that we don't all know the truth already. You know the interviewer knows the truth. You know she does. She knows the whole case. So I don't know why she chose to sit there and tell her a bald-faced lie, but she did. So let's play it on.
Testified.
That's true.
Why not?
So there's a lot of reasons. The way that the system works, if I were to really explain, because now being behind the scenes of the system, I mean, obviously you see things differently, but it's very interesting what the state is allowed to do. So if you put on any kind of a case, okay, any kind of defense, one person, like one detective, say the detective Moffat that they didn't put on the stand, right? I really wanted to put him on the stand.
You wanted to cross-examine him.
Well, he was the case agent for the first, year and a half or something like that. So he's the one that talked to everybody. He's the one that found out all the information, and they didn't put him on at all. And I think that was because of the exhibits that I was proposing were mainly of him, right? So they didn't put him on at all because they didn't want me to cross-examine him on the stand. So if I put up anybody, if I put up one person, then they get to put on a whole nother case after that. They get to put on a rebuttal case after that. So they can, and I think this is like the MO of the state. So this is how trial works. Like they put on their case, and then you put on your case, and then they can go back and put on a whole nother case. Like they kind of save it for the end. And so there's strategy involved, and there's,
Okay, let me stop it right there. Okay. Yeah, there's strategy involved. That's absolutely correct. That is why you have a professional attorney. That is why you let somebody represent you that knows what they're doing, because you do have to have a strategy. You have to have, you don't have to, it's up to the state to prove that you are guilty. It's not up to you to prove that you're innocent. But a skilled attorney could have done a much better job. Oh, now my son's going to come home. Okay, so I'm hoping my dogs don't bark. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this play for a minute while he comes in the door. So if my dog's barking, I don't have to hear it, because it really drives me insane. And the reason why I'm downstairs and not upstairs is because of the dogs barking and me not being able to control them, because I'm upstairs and they're downstairs. So let's let this go again. When he starts to open the door, I'm going to start the camera again. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I really do. I know that LoriVallow has been spoke about. I know that. I know. And I know everybody's probably already covered this. I know that too. But I want to get my point. I want to talk about it myself so people understand why I think the way I do about it. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. So, and we're going to move on to the other cases tomorrow. Okay, so he's fixing to come in. I'm going to let this play. Here we go.
retreat. You know, I'm a big movie buff, so I think of things, and I think I've studied yoga and Tai Chi and the art of war. I mean, that's kind of like, it's crazy what really is going on behind this.
So you didn't want Trina K to get back up there and present a lot more after if you were to have testified.
I didn't do it for that purpose. I just knew that that is a possibility.
We were talking to the jurors after the verdict, and they had a lot of interesting things to say. One of them,
I would be really interested to hear what they said. I didn't get to hear any of
Well,
that, so
I'll
I've
tell
been sleeping.
so one of them thought not guilty until closing arguments. Do you feel like you did not do enough in closing arguments to have convinced that juror to keep that decision?
I don't think that it was my job really to convince them. I was just trying to present it from my side, you know.
A lot of them had the same questions that we thought. So just to kind of bring you into what affected them the most.
I'd love to hear that, actually.
Okay. So you heard that, right? I mean, I wish my dogs would not bark. I really do. I don't know why they do. They just do. They know who it is, but they just get all excited. You know, I guess that's what you have dogs. They're going to bark. I mean, dogs bark. But anyway, so he's upstairs now, and they're probably going to be quiet. But so she would love to hear what they had to say. Well, she was sitting right there. I know that she will not be able to go back. Well, no, they have television. I'm pretty sure she'll be able to go back and watch the trial and what happened, what took place. So look at her. She just smiles and acts like everything, and she just acts like everything is okay. I will never understand that. She is not okay. She's never, she is the strangest. I thought Letitia Stouch was strange, but let me tell you something. LoriVallow is worse. I would love to see those two in the same cell. Could you imagine? That would be kind of funny. But I wonder who would win in a cat fight. Probably Letitia, because she would probably outweigh Lori, I think. I don't know. They both, gotten huge because they're not over there able to exercise and do what they did to keep themselves from getting huge, but they were not in prison. So anyway, not that matters, because it really doesn't matter. But okay, we'll just go ahead and let this play again so I can pay more attention instead of paying attention to the dog's about to bark. Let's go with this right now. Here we go.
All of them sat there wondering, where is Tylee? She's in the body camera footage.
Right.
Why is she not testifying? And they felt that there was a part of the story missing, which they didn't know about your previous convictions, but they were correct.
Did they not know?
They did not know. According to them, they did not know. And they shouldn't have known based on
They
how
should
it
have
should.
known. And it was weird, right? Because it seemed like Trina K was talking around Tylee without talking directly about her, So I'm sure that was confusing.
Would you have wanted the jurors to know that she's dead?
I was precluded from giving out that information. So that's the way the law works, right? We were both precluded. So that made it very awkward, don't you think?
But let's say you weren't. Would you have preferred the jurors to know that Tylee was dead?
I don't know that. I think they obviously did know.
Well, they said they learned afterwards. So as they were coming out, people were saying, you can now look up the case. So they were Googling things and they're seeing all these prior
You didn't think that happened during deliberations? Like maybe one person informed all of them that was the case?
I mean, obviously, you and I won't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not saying.
Okay. All right. We know that did not happen because one of the jurors that Nate Eaton spoke to, which I really enjoy watching Nate, he's such a good reporter, but she explained that they really only deliberated for 41 minutes. They had they had two holdouts in the first vote, and it was because of the shoes. Because remember, she had shoes on, said she didn't have shoes. She had to stop and buy some shoes, but she clearly had shoes on. You could see it in the film, the footage from the store that she stopped and bought the shoes at. And that was, once they rewatched that video, then they knew that she was telling a story about that. But at the point that they actually found out that what should have happened, at the point that they found out that she had been convicted for taking her children's life, is exactly after the fact. Now, I don't know, and I really am concerned about the one juror who spoke about it when he spoke to Nate Eaton. That was a huge no-no, because if he looked something up during the middle of this trial, or if he knew about it and then lied when he was in voir dire about knowing anything about the trial, then it causes a mistrial. And I'm certainly hoping that's not what happens. I would hate to see this woman get another trial. She's already getting another trial, but I just don't understand why that juror said that. He had to, why did he not know better? Well, I guess he's being honest, and you should always be honest, but he is dishonest at some point, because how did he know? He said he knew before they deliberated. So he must have found out, he already knew that, or he found out after they were given the case and they went home that evening. Because, when they're deliberating, they don't have their cell phones and all that on. They're not allowed to. So that is really, I would like to know what the judge thinks about that. It's going to be a big deal. Remember, what is that guy's name? The guy who killed his wife and his child. He's the big attorney. Something like that happened there too. There was the Murdoch, that case. There's something going on like that too about his case, about a juror problem. So anyway, well, let's go back to this. We'll go back to this, but think about what she's saying. Just think about what she's saying, and then tell me what you think about it, because apparently, okay, let's just go back and watch. Here we go.
When they found out that Tylee and JJ are both dead, for you seeing Tylee on the video, I mean, what was that like for you? You were convicted in her death, but we're seeing video of her in that courtroom.
Well, I understand where Tylee is in heaven. I know what she's doing, and I know where she is. And so it's been almost 6 years since she passed away. I mean, this is the catalyst, right? What happened with her and Charles was the catalyst of her killing herself. So I was precluded from talking about that. I was precluded from bringing that up.
But the detectives obviously don't say that she killed herself.
I'm aware of what the detectives say, but they weren't there.
So that's what actually led me to my next question on this. So I know last time you said that there was a domino effect in our last interview that was kind of the cause or the result of all of these deaths of people. And when I asked you about it more, you said, I'll save that for next time. So here we are. What do you mean by domino effect? And was the catalyst of that Chad Daybell?
So because I still have my appeals and another trial coming up, right? I don't want to really necessarily get into the details of it, but yeah, it was a domino effect, one that I was not prepared for. Like what happened with Charles that day, between Tylee and Charles that day, had been building for months. They had been getting into these fights. I had to separate them physically twice. Tylee and I went and stayed in a hotel twice to get away because she was pushing his buttons like only a teenager can, and when that happened that day, I mean, that's what I was precluded from discussing. I was precluded from talking about what led up to this incident, why it was so intense in those few minutes, why things happened like they happened. And so it was hard for me. It's hard for me to not be able to talk about that. It's hard for me to be able to say what actually happened. It's so hard because you think you're going to be able to get up and just tell what happened. And that's not the way the law works. It's not the way it's written. So nobody gets to do that,
Okay, so not the way the law is written. That's what she's claiming. Well, okay, Lori. All right. And the thing is, she took it. Okay, let's go back to that day. It was never about Charles and Tylee. It never was. She took his phone, and that's what started the whole thing. I am sure that Tylee was. I'm speculating because we weren't there. We don't know, and I don't claim to know. But it would seem to me that what happened is Tylee must have heard the commotion and the yelling and whatever, because she was in her room. And she came out with a bat because she did not even know that it was Charles there. So she comes out with a bat, but because these other two had already planned to basically just as soon as he walked in the door, okay, well, I'm not going to say that word. Okay, so anyway, they in their premeditation of this death, I'm going to call it a death, they planned on, she used Tylee. In other words, I think she used Tylee. She has blamed Tylee for all kinds of things. Well, I don't understand as a mother, how is she sitting there smiling and saying these things about her own child? Tylee. Lori, what about Lori, who is a selfish woman. She only cares about herself. And then lying. Oh, we're going to let this play some more, because when you hear her lie about the next part of the lie that she tells you, you're going to be so shocked. Everybody in that courtroom, they heard the text messages. They knew, you could see what was happening between these two people. She's lying. I mean, you could just see it. And she sits there. Okay, I'm not going to tell it. Hold on. I'm going to turn it back on and let y'all listen to what she says. I cannot believe she sat there and said that. Here we go.
I'm in here with these women that have these family tragedies too. And they're family tragedies. Things happen. And they're precluded from telling the story. You're precluded from telling that in court. And the jury never gets to see that. So, and you see all the things that the jury doesn't get to see. I mean, they get very limited information. I mean, you saw how everything I tried to say, Trina K's like, she can't say that. She can't say that. She can't say that, you know? And so, not being a lawyer, you know, and trying this, you know, myself, like I was always surprised, like, okay, well, I guess you can't really tell your side of the story ever. Like, I guess that's not how it works.
I know with our interview, you referenced a family tragedy, and that was something that we heard in your opening and your closing arguments.
Right, absolutely.
But that phrase bothered a lot of people who know what happened in a totality, right?
Who knows what happened in totality besides me?
Well,
Who was there?
I think everybody who's seen that you've been convicted of now
wrongly
four
convicted.
deaths.
Wrongly convicted, yes.
So if you say that you were wrongly convicted of the deaths of your children,
Yes.
who killed them?
So you know from my interview with Colby that I told him what really happened. And so that's just what happened.
Can you put that into your own words here?
I could, but I would probably save that for my next trial. So
I want to ask you a little bit about the testimony. Obviously, this was your first time. I mean, you're not an attorney.
right.
What was that like cross-examining people for you, getting up there and having to be able to put into words your questions properly? You got a lot of objections and kind of had to revamp there on the spot. What was that like for you?
It's harder than it looks.
Sure.
It's harder than it looks. It's stressful in a way. Like your brain has to be going 100 miles an hour. You know, I've been in jail for over 5 years, almost 6 years. So you don't really have to use your brain very much in jail. So it was like mathlete or something, you know, you're having to think all the time. So it was interesting. It was different than I thought it was going to be. Difficult.
What was it like facing your brother?
Okay, all right. Let me take that. Okay. It was more difficult than she thought it was going to be. Really? Okay, well, she didn't go to law school, obviously. But when you listen to her sit there and talk about this, and I mean, she's still laughing. I don't understand. There was nothing funny about what she did. There's nothing funny about this trial, and they ambushed that man. I know, and I don't think Tally. Of course, Tally probably did not know what Alex and Lori had planned. I just don't think she knew that. I don't think a child would willingly participate in something like that. But once again, all of these people, this is part of it I don't understand. They're doing the castings, they're doing all these things. They are not, and not one person realizes or thinks that this could actually cause somebody to be harmed. Oh gosh, it's so hard to understand why nobody tried to help Charles. Now, Charles tried to help himself, and here, remember Summer. She said Summer is the one who had told her that they were planning something. But when you listen to Summers talk about this, and I'll have to pull this up another time when we're talking about her again, but we're not going to talk about her for very long just today, because we're going to get onto the other cases we want to do. We're going to start with Collier. No, we're not. We're starting with Brown, Jordan. We're starting with Jordan. So that's the one we're going to do next. But anyway, she's acting like she did not tell Lori this. So I don't know if she did or did not. But Lori knew that they were going to do something. And so her and Alex, perfect opportunity. But I really think that even if they could have intervened, I don't think it would have helped her at all. She has a one-track mind, and that's because she has to be the center of attention. She's got to be the goddess that she thinks she is, and the only person that's going to treat her like that and let her go with this fantasy is her other fantasy partner, Chad Daybell. So anyway, we're going to proceed on with this, but I don't know what she thought she was going to do by representing herself. And it was, 10 men and 2 women were the actual jurors. Did she think that having all those men on the jury, she was going to actually get this baby voice and turn them into, I'm not guilty? Anyway, here we go. Let's watch this.
Yeah, that's a good question. It all happened so fast. I'm still really kind of processing. I mean, yesterday was the first day I slept in like 3 weeks or so. So today I slept into a little bit. And I knew you guys were coming. I was like, I better get up because, I knew you guys were coming. But it was different than I thought.
Did you think that your interactions with Adam were positive between the two of you in the courtroom?
I didn't really think anything at the time. I was trying to be in just lawyer mode and kind of do my job at the time. It's hard because you have being your own attorney, right? You're obviously emotional, and women were obviously more emotional than the men who get up and do it. But I tried to mostly be in attorney mode and try to stick to that.
Well, and that's an interesting point, because I think the difference that we saw with you versus if you had an attorney was sometimes there were personal aspects. For example, the green chili chicken enchiladas. Right. That became a huge part of this that I don't think anybody had on their bingo card that was going to be part of this trial. But obviously an attorney would not have started going into that. Why bring that up? And what was that interaction between you and Adam like?
So I don't know. I mean, it was different when it was up there with him because, you've known him your whole life. I was going to come in and say, I'm funny. I'm always doing movie lines. Our whole family is like that. We're big on movie lines. Like Summer and I will text back and forth in total movie lines without any words ever that are our own, just quoting back and forth. And so I wanted to come in and ask Adam, who is Ernest T. Watson? And see what his reaction would be. Because there's no way he couldn't laugh,
No, but he seemed annoyed on the stand.
Yeah, well, he would laugh because that was the name that he called himself when we used to play school when we were little growing up. That was like his nerdy name for school when we played school. So I thought that would be funny. But I was trying to be, it's obviously a serious situation, but it's hard with my own family to be serious because we're really a joking family. And so
would you call you and Adam estranged though now?
Not really necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
That kind of the personal part of this, I want to touch on a little bit more of that in the testimony. So it seemed from a totality standpoint that some of the testimony that bothered you the most was talking about Charles dating other women, specifically with Nancy Johann.
Okay, we're going to stop right there for a second. Okay, that was the big bombshell. When I saw that, I was, yay. So I'm so glad he was trying to move on. But then, okay, so it's coming out in court that he is actually on a dating site and he's met somebody. He's just the night before on this date. And she stands there and again is lying to this jury saying, no, we were not getting divorced. Well, yes, you were getting divorced. You might not have been served yet, but you were getting divorced. And then she, oh God. Now the next part that's going to come out is that I think it's one of the biggest lies she's ever told. And it's so clear to see. So, because, the jury got to see all those text messages. They got to see everything that we got to see and more. So let's go on over and look at this. This woman, and, she's really aged terribly in jail, hasn't she? It's going to be sad. Anyway, let's go.
Also referenced it in your cross-examination of Detective Duncan. Why did that aspect bother you so much?
I don't think it bothered me that much. I think it surprised me because I wasn't aware of any of that until we got the discovery.
You did not know he was dating other women?
No. No.
But you were having the affair with Chad Daybell. So how does that
You can
work?
say affair, but Chad was really just my best friend.
At the time?
Yes.
But then you got married a few months later.
Correct.
So you were just friends, according to you, with Chad before Charles' death.
Correct.
And then only romantic things started after Charles' death.
Correct.
Do you still to this day believe that Charles was a dark spirit, a possessed spirit named Ned?
That's a whole thing that has been way misconstrued. So.
Can you clear it up?
Probably not in the 5 minutes we have left.
Obviously, I have to ask, right? Because so much centered around the religion part of this, including these Nephi texts. The Nephi texts, I think, became possibly the crux of this trial. And it also was what affected the jurors most. They felt that some of those text messages between you and Alex were some of the most damning evidence in this.
Is that what they're saying now?
That's what they're saying
Interesting.
now. So how do you describe the Nephi texts?
So yeah, they've been totally and completely misconstrued. So I explained that somewhat in my closing. That's their job. So the prosecution, the state, they're not there, right? They receive all this information and then they make up a story that goes along with whatever information that they have, right? They make it up. It's a made up story. They weren't there. They didn't experience it. So they have no idea. They have to make up a story and then they have to stick to it. And then they put that out to the media and then they put their narrative out and then they stick to their narrative. So you've heard this for 5 years, but it's very misconstrued.
So what is it?
So when you're
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. It's very misconstrued, and okay, so the attorneys, they made up the story. Oh, listen to that. They made up the story based on the evidence that they had just to make it fit so that she looked guilty. Okay, really, Lori? It is so hard to understand. What about her? She has made up story after story. In my mind, everything she has said is just her made up story. She knows better. I mean, did she not think they were going to see all the footage, the videos and all that? Well, maybe they didn't, because really, I guess the footage of the Jeep and those kind of things was in the death of the children. So no, they probably did not see that. But listening to her tell this is just maddening. It's just maddening. I'm just, ugh. Here we go. Let's go back. Here you go.
to someone else who understands spiritual things. So say Chad, for instance, right? Mm-hmm. Chad had a near-death experience. He's had 3, actually. I had a near-death experience. We both went to heaven. We both had that experience. So what bonded us is it's a very lonely place to have that kind of knowledge and have no one to talk to about it in your life that understands that. And so when someone else understands that and you're speaking spiritually, we weren't speaking of anything on earth. We weren't speaking of anything that was happening here. We're speaking of things that are happening in the spirit world. So anybody that's going to read any text of yours, it's going to be way over their head in the sense that they had those experiences. So they have nowhere to put them.
So what does be like Nephi mean?
Be courageous, be brave, have perseverance.
And why did you have to be brave in that situation? What were you referencing then to be brave about?
So Adam and Charles and Brandon were plotting against me. My sister was worried about it. My mom was telling me about it. I didn't really realize it. I was in the middle of taking care of kids with special needs, a daughter with chronic illness, and a son with special needs. So if you know anything about kids with autism, it's 24 hours a day. And I was busy mom. They were like, oh, this is weird. Adam came into town and he's with Charles and you haven't talked to him and we need to let you know there's something going on. Maybe you could come stay at my house. You know, my sister had that whole thing of things, come stay at my house. I can't pick up JJ and go stay at someone else's house. It ruins his routine.
So you were referring to the intervention.
What they call an intervention. Now I don't believe that's what it was at all.
What did you believe
I
it was?
think they have other plans completely.
So when Charles died, why did you guys wait 47 minutes to call 911? That became a huge part
I didn't wait any time. I didn't wait any time.
Well, I guess you didn't call at all.
Because
Alex called.
That's right. It was his responsibility in my mind that he took over and was handling that situation. I was getting the kids out of danger.
Do you think he should have called sooner?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah. I think he probably freaked out. You know, Charles and Alex were friends for years. Like Alex lived with us for like 6 months in 2018. And he and Charles would hang out all weekend and they'd go do stuff together. And Charles loved Alex and Alex loved Charles. This just happened this day the way that it happened. And it was a tragedy. You know, Alex was probably freaked out as I was of the whole situation. So I don't know why he did what he did. You know, he's not here for me to ask him anymore.
We're going to stop that right there for a second. Hang on. Okay. Now, the family tragedy. They loved each other. I mean, okay, let's think about this. If Alex had that much love for Charles, how could he stand there and pull that trigger knowing his sister was not really in danger? he was not going to hurt Lori at all. I mean, he knew he wasn't. He knew that that Charles would never hurt Lori like that. Golly, and I guess about her talking about Tylee being sick all the time. I think maybe she got a little bit of Munchausen by proxy. I know it's called something different now, but is that what's going on here with Miss LoriVallow? Did she enjoy having this sick child? I mean, I know she didn't gain anything from it like other people, but the way she talks about it seems like she did enjoy it. And poor little JJ, he was so cute. What a little cutie. How could they do that? Remember, they found in her trial, I believe, a hair, and that's why they think that she was involved in taping that child up. Now, he fought. They had, oh Lord, okay, I don't want to talk too much about that, but this woman is just vile. How in the world? And then when she's talking about, when they were in heaven, the higher spiritual, what? What are you saying, Lori? What are you saying over here? They always talk about behind the veil. So I was going to just bring this up and it is talked about a lot in their religion about seeing behind the veil, which is seeing things that are going to happen to you before it happens. God telling you things, showing you things, that kind of. I just want to explain how they explain it. So here we go. Let me see. I had it pulled up and then I started doing something else and I lost it. So we'll just look it back up, but it's okay. No, we don't want to watch behind the veil. We want to talk about behind the veil. All right, here we go. Right over here. Okay, behind the veil. What does it mean? Okay, here we go. Let's talk about that for a second. What does it mean to be behind the veil? And this is coming straight from, the internet. Okay. The ideal of the veil representing a boundary between the known and the unknown, the physical and the spiritual, or the present and the afterlife is a common theme in various cultures and religions. This expression is typically used to refer to something that is hidden, mysterious, or beyond ordinary understanding. So her and Chad, Chad did not have those near-death experiences. We know that he took other people's and used them in his books. He was a pretty good liar, I guess. People have talked about that as well. She makes it sound like when they were having these near-death experiences, if they met in heaven, like they met in heaven somewhere. Okay, let's go back and finish listening to this because it is unbelievable the lies that she tells and expects people to believe, knowing we have heard everything else. Knowing it. Okay, let's go on.
Yourself in this trial?
No.
Why?
It's for the same reasons I told you before about getting a speedy trial.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that for all the women in here that have been sitting here for so many years, and I told you, I wouldn't expect attorneys to be able to do that. They want more time, so I'll continue to go through the motions and, we have another trial coming up in a couple of weeks. We have lots to do for that trial and preparing and getting ready. And maybe some of those things will be cleared up in this trial. They filed a motion that they're going to bring in everything now.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so if the judge allows that, which
who knows?
What do you think he's going to do?
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know.
You tell me what you think he's going to do, Brianna.
Well,
you think he's going to say, nope, no 404B, we're not going to let any of that stuff in? I mean,
the judge was relatively patient with you, I thought, throughout the trial.
Did you
feel that? Well,
no,
I think he was helping
like
you. One more. Given that you were just found guilty, and I know you don't like the jail conditions, would you change your plea in Brandon's trial?
No.
Why?
Will I change it? No. Because I didn't do anything. So no, there comes a point when you just have to stand up, regardless of what they do to you, right? This will have zero effect on me in eternity. Zero effect on me in eternity. And I already know that. So I'm here to help whatever women I can help, and here be courageous and stand up for themselves, because it's a system that bogs you down. These women are bogged down. They've been here for years. They've been treated horrible in this situation, and they've been treated horrible by their own attorneys. They've been treated like, okay, we need They've been here for 8, 9, 10 years waiting to go to trial when the conditions at the prison, even if they got convicted, are a million times better than they are right here. So I'm helping them to stand up and be courageous. If you didn't do it, you just get up and say you didn't do it. If they convict you because that's the way the law works, then they're going to convict you because that's the way the law works. It is designed to convict you. It is not designed to acquit you. And I want you to look this up, and I want you to tell me next time we talk, how many people in Maricopa County in a murder case get acquitted? I want to know the percentage get acquitted,
I'll look it up.
because I bet you it's like less than 1%.
It's not often that we see it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Let me turn this off. All right, there you go. Remove. Okay, so there we go. So we watched her little interview. Now she's acting as if she's some kind of martyr, or she's going to help all these other women. They've been there that long. I just do not believe. Let me get this off of here. Yeah, get rid of that. I just do not believe that those women have been there that long. I don't. There's no way, because that's not how. She's talking about that's how the law works. That's how the law works. No, it's not how the law works. Come on, lady, what's wrong with you? But yeah. And then she's talking, okay, so she wanted to know the percentage of how many people were acquitted. Okay, so we're going to look that up right now, and we'll be able to answer her question. How many women, or how many people are acquitted in Maricopa County? Oh boy. And I've heard that the prisons are really bad there. No, I don't feel sorry for her because she deserves to be there. But still, let's see. What are we going to do here? Okay, criminal. Okay, let me see if I can find one that talks that says that event. Let's see. Acquitted. Let's see if we can find one. Okay, here we go. I think I found one right here. I don't know. I'm pretty sure somebody has done the stats on this before. So I'm pretty sure that there is some way of knowing how many people are actually acquitted in Maricopa County. Okay, how many? Okay, here's unofficial results, fast facts. Here's some fast facts. That's election days. Wow. Why is this weird? Okay, hang on, guys. I'm always going to have a little bit of something. Okay. Acquitted. Oh, come on. Stop doing that. Go. Come on. How many people are actually acquitted? Let's see what it says. Judicial branch of Arizona. Okay, newsflash. Oh, wow. Okay, so you think it'll be so easy, but I guess I'm going to have to ask Grok how many people, because, I love Grok. What do y'all think about Grok? It's so fun. It can tell you all kinds of things that you never knew, or that you did not know was even possible. I love it. And if you want to do an outline of something, comparing things, you can just ask Grok. It'll tell you. So we're going to put it in Grok right now. How many people? What's the percentage? We want to know the percentage. Hang on. What's the percentage? Okay, what's the percentage? Let's type. I guess I could just ask it. Of people acquitted in Maricopa County. All right, let's see what Grok has to say. Okay. It's thinking. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let's do it this way. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, come on, let's go. Grok, in Maricopa County, Arizona, what is the percentage of people actually acquitted of the crimes that they are in trial for versus the number of people convicted in trial for the crimes they committed? Can you tell us that answer? Let's see if it'll answer us. It might not be able to hear me. Sometimes these things can't hear me, which is so weird, isn't it? Yes, it is. Oh, come on. You can hear me. Go. Think about it. Think, deep search. Oh, boy. It did not understand what I said. I guess it can't hear me. So we'll just say, anyway, we'll say that for later. But I know there are stats out there. Well, you know what? You got the internet right here, dumbass. Why don't you just put it right here? Okay. We'll just do it on this one. Okay, hang on. What is the percentage of acquittals? Oops. Maricopa County. I guess I should put Arizona, right? Arizona. Okay, Lord, we're gonna get we're gonna answer your question. Here we go. Ding, 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 ding. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Oh wow, 5.2 million. Okay, there's an actual report that is filed about this for the stats in the judicial branch for Arizona. So what does it say? Okay. It wants me to look at this whole. Okay. Well, I don't want to look at the whole record. I just want a simple answer. I guess it cannot give me a simple answer, really. Why not? Just give us the simple answer. Let me see what's going to say over here. I'm going to let it search again because this report contains filing and dispositions dates for each county and court level. It's divided into appellate, general jurisdiction, and limited jurisdiction. Okay, so it would take, well, let me see if it answers it right here. I think it's going to take a little bit of investigation to get the actual numbers because of the way this is, the way it's broken down in these annual reports. Let's see. It might be right here. It's going to take, oh gosh, no, we don't want to look at all that. There's the judicial branch. Okay, it's not going to be an easy thing because I have to go through the list for the whole state. It's just not just one, not just that county. There's like a whole list that you've got to go through. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about LoriVallow and her ridiculousness today and see what people thought about her interview and the flat lying that she does. Just the reporter knows. I do not know the reporter's name. I should have looked that up before I got started, but I had a little problem with my StreamYard in the first time, so I had to restart it, of course, because I hate StreamYard and I really need to replace it. But because I always have some kind of little problem with it. But I know she's watching. She's talking to her. She's asking these questions, and she's watching Lori lie to her as if nobody knows the real truth. It is. I don't know how she sat there and didn't call her a liar. I just don't know how she did it because I just don't know. But anyway, I just thought it'd be a little bit fun to talk about her and her big ball of lying. And I'm going to check and see if there's any way we can get any FOIAs from any of her cases in Arizona. And if I can, maybe we can talk about that later. But we're going to actually talk about I think it's Jordan Brown next time. I'm going to be gathering information for that because we wanted to talk about that one too. I am not going to spend a lot of time on the Manson and Daybell situation because apparently YouTube, for whatever reason, there was just kind of a problem with that, and I just don't want to get into that. I don't want to ever have that problem. So I think the name is Jordan Brown, and we're going to find out how in the world this person could have. Oh boy, here we go. We're just going to talk about him. He was arrested and charged as an adult for the fatal shooting of his father and their pregnant fiance. So we need to look at this case and figure out, why would he do this? What was in his mind? What happened to him? The why and the where would somebody do that? And he was just 11 years old. He's a child. He's a baby. What in the world? What in the world happened to that child to make him do that? So anyway, I'm going to let y'all go and enjoy your weekend. I don't know if I'm going to come back this weekend or not. I don't know if I'm going to go live again this weekend because I really do need to gather my information on Jordan, on this case over here. Before I come back, because I don't want to come back not prepared because, I have all this stuff for this other case this other comparison that I wanted to do, but it's just not worth having problems with YouTube over. So I understand we can do it on X, and that's fine. And I might do it on X separately, but no, for right now, I'm just going to stick to my YouTube because that's where my favorite people are, and we're just going to work on the next case. So I'll see y'all later. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your life. And I always tell everybody, be safe, be careful, and hug your babies. Have a good weekend. Bye, guys.